Hey guys, I'm Lili, QHT practitioner, international coach, and author. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the topic of morality and making mistakes. As human beings, there are times when we get completely overwhelmed by strong emotions like extreme fear, anxiety, or loneliness. Driven by these feelings, we might do things we later deeply regret, cannot agree with, or even consider immoral. When this happens, we usually feel intense self-blame, guilt, or frustration, wondering why we did such things. Today, I want to share some thoughts on how we can cope when we accidentally cross our own moral boundaries and do things we regret. First, forgive ourselves and stop labeling. The first thing I want to share and remind myself too is that we must learn to forgive ourselves and avoid labeling who we are. Let's not attach a negative label to our entire personality just because of one specific action. Naturally, when we make a mistake, our brain's first reaction is what? Self-attack, right? Making us think, how could I be this kind of person? I'm so terrible. But an action driven by a temporary emotion does not define our entire being. We are just ordinary people made of flesh and blood, and we might make irrational decisions when pushed by strong emotional needs. Forgiving ourselves is the absolute prerequisite for facing the issue calmly. If we waste all of our energy on criticizing ourselves, we will never be able to see the root of the problem clearly. Second, the second step is to help ourselves dissect the action. Since we are no longer judging ourselves, what we can actually do to help? My advice is to turn inward and dissect the entire process. Simply put, this is an inner conversation, which is exactly the method I use during my own one-on-one sessions during my QHT practice. Let's not just get stuck in the feeling of I did something wrong. Instead, let's look back at the lead up of the action. I actually talk about how I dissect myself, my own actions and emotions in my first book, which details my personal journey. I'll put the Amazon link in the description box. And I always give a physical copy of this book to my QHT clients and attendees of my workshop, Master Your Brainwaves workshop. So, no action appears out of our thin air as a random event. There is always a build-up. For example, before we go out to meet a friend, there is a whole process of messaging, planning where to meet, or deciding what to do. We can trace back every single step of that process and observe ourselves in that exact moment. Ask ourselves, what voice was in our heads? If we have a high level of awareness, we can catch ourselves in that moment and stop before taking an action we might regret in the future. But if it all already happened, we just go back and dissect every preparatory step, ask ourselves, what feeling were we trying to hold onto at that moment? When we replay our behaviors in slow motion and dissect it step by step, we uncover the real reason that pushed us to take that final action, which makes us feel regret. As I always say, to see it is to heal it. Seeing is healing. Uncovering this true motif prevents us from repeating the same mistake. This isn't about making excuses for ourselves. It is actually about recognizing these emotions early so we don't get pushed by them again into making regrettable choices, of course, in the future. Judging ourselves only hides the opportunity for self-awareness and self-improvement. So let's forgive ourselves first, and then dissect the event to find the hidden lesson, the hidden message. This is how we turn a seemingly bad situation into a learning experience, showing us that everything truly unfolds exactly as it should. The dissecting journey is not an easy one, but if we do it again and again, and we found that it is easier to be honest with ourselves. The third point is that once we learn to forgive ourselves, we should extend that same grace to others. Let's allow others, especially our intimate partners, to make mistakes and give them the room to correct them. When we deeply dissect ourselves and forgive ourselves, we realize that people around us are just human. We are all human, and we become more tolerant and empathetic, understanding that everyone has the potential to do regrettable things because of emotional vulnerability or life's frustrations. Knowing our own flaws helps us understand others' imperfections. In intimate relationships, especially in intimate relationships and interactions with family members or, of course, our children, we no longer need to be overly suspicious or controlling out of fear that they will make a mistake. We can finally let go of that desire to control and gradually, naturally let go of that desire to control. And if we confirm that the other person really did make a mistake, we can, while protecting our own boundaries, give them a chance to make it right. So allow the person who is intimate to us to make mistakes. Let's give them the opportunity to learn and grow together with us. Learning how to navigate relationships through our own self-reflection is a truly precious gift. Finally, I hope that we remind ourselves that we are in this world to experience life and to go through trial and error and to learn. Let's allow ourselves to have cracks because, as that saying goes, that's how the light gets it. Only by allowing ourselves to be imperfect can we clearly see our own progress. And if any of us are currently consumed by internal friction over irrational decisions from our past, I hope today's sharing can serve as our handrail. Just like I always say about QHT, it's just a handrail to support us on our inner journey. But ultimately, the power comes from within us. And I hope my sharing can be our handrail today, accompany us inward to find our peace. And last but not least, that I will be hosting a Master Your Brainwaves immersive workshop in Singapore on August the 8th. We currently have 9 spots left, and we can grab our tickets and learn more at my website here. I will post it on the description box. Every attendees of this workshop will receive a copy of my book and a $100 voucher for the QHT sessions or my coaching sessions. Okay, so I hope today's sharing is helpful for you guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.